In this video, I will discuss the Asch Conformity Experiments, and this is in the context of golf groupthink in your golf game. So what are the Asch Conformity Experiments? Well, if you Google them, you'll see you can get a bunch of videos about it, and they started in 1951. This is the shortest one, and it illustrates exactly how it worked. This was the pigeon. He was the one guy in the experiment that did not know that he was in an experiment. So you had a bunch of guys lined up, and they were all part of the experiment. There was only one subject, and so they wanted to see if people would conform. So they would show the subjects three different size lines and ask them which one of these three lines is the same size as this line. So they go through it a few times. And initially, the subject chose the right one. But then when they kept repeating it and the other five repeatedly chose a different size one, that individual eventually started to conform and choose the wrong size line. So my question to you right now, if you've never heard this before, is how many people do you think conform? I mean, would you conform? How many people do you think would look at this and choose the small one? You might say, well, I would never do that. Well, hopefully, you and I wouldn't. However, odds are is that we would, because 75% of subjects conformed. How's that? 75% conformed. And this is not because they are dumb by any stretch of the imagination. It is because human beings are, well, we can be corralled and easily conformed. So this has been known for a long time. Look at these studies. Asch Conformity, 1951. Milgram Obedience, 1961. Stanford Prison Experiments, 1971. And Huxley said in speeches, not his movie, when he talked about, because he wrote Brave New World in 1930, I think it was. And it's this 30 years later, and he talked about how things have changed in the past 30 years in the context of what he essentially hypothesized and predicted for the future. So in 1960, he said that the technology, and think about people's eyeballs just trapped in their cell phones, the technology will be used in the future, the near future, to induce people to actually love their slavery and servitude. How's that? That's kind of crazy. So in the context of conformity, I created a video, and you can see the title, and I was stunned to see the reactions that people had to this, because I think they just reacted to the title. They didn't actually listen to what, or maybe they did, but because of their conformist thinking, they just reacted to the title. So what the video is about, because if you look at Ben Hogan's book, this is the setup. And that's the only thing that this video was about. This was the only thing I commented on. You can do everything else Ben Hogan says, just back up based upon your rotational movement skills. And again, I was just stunned to see the emotional reactions. So in this, these are the first three comments that you can read if you go look at this video. And the bottom one by John Muehl, he mentions Wayne Levy, which I remember his name. You can see about 30 years ago. So Wayne Levy won 4 times on the PGA Tour in one season. That would have been 1990. So you're talking 3 years ago now. So, and this guy set up like this. So here's Wayne Levy's setup. There you go. I remember his name. I just never paid attention. Watching golf back, particularly when I was younger, was kind of tough because you never really see the ball fly. It's a lot more fun now. But check out Wayne Levy's backswing. You can see setup, backswing. Now this backswing, interestingly, looks just like Hogan. Well, not just, because no one looks exactly alike. But you can see all I talked about in this video was this is a disaster for most amateurs, which it absolutely is, because if you stand too close and you lack rotational movement skills, you're standing up. Now, one of the funny things about conformity for me is in the golf world is, and I mean, understandably, Ben Hogan was probably the most unbelievable golfer in golf history. I mean, to almost die in a car wreck, to be practically crippled and come back and win majors, like what, 2 or 3 in 1 year? I mean, it's unbelievable. So people understandably love the guy and admire the guy. But it should be within reason. Like this guy, Larry Nelson, says that Hogan's book is what helped him. I was like, really? He breaks Hogan's primary rule. Right elbow high, and he crosses the pane of glass. So in the context of setup positions from the ball, which is the biggest conformity issue for golfers, look how long ago, this is top 100 Irish amateur men. I looked for this because I wanted to see where Jimmy Bruin was. This was published back in 2014. Let's zoom in on the picture. Look at this setup position. Unbelievable. You can clearly see that back in the, 1900 maybe, people set up at this distance from the ball. So you need to choose, you need to not choose, you need to determine which one of these setup positions works for you based upon swinging through the ball and not going into, and not standing up, not going into early extension. Now, the problem with this, again, is it's a conformity issue. People, when you conform, breaking conformity is stressful. It's for whatever reason. But this shouldn't be like a complicated thing. This is just backing up 2, 3, 6 inches from the ball. The problem is, across the board, because it's been taught so much now, it has been institutionalized. And it has nothing to do with being dumb. It is simply conformity. So what should you do if you choose to free yourself from this conformity? As I have done. So all I did was back up from the ball, and now I don't go into early extension. That's not that complicated. And then you want to learn to swing from your heels. And it's very simple. And you can free yourself from this conformity just by today. You can go to the range and back up. You can watch my previous videos and learn how to do, I think, four of these drills I show in YouTube videos. Pretty simple. And you should learn to swing from your heels. So I did a bunch of videos on learning how to swing from your heels so you can see how diverse it is. There is no one way to move. So you can watch these freely as well. And if you like this and you want to not do free, well, then you can either pay $10 or $25 for the book. And before you do that, you can go and you can look inside and see if it works for you. But if you don't want to do that, just do this. Back up. Learn some of these drills, and then get this into your head that you can move differently than you do now if you get your setup position right and learn to swing from your heels.